Again, so I'll introduce LEAP, what we do. I will go into kind of the CFD capabilities and what you can do in a broad sense. We'll then go through the modeling process and help you understand, like before you even start CFD, what you should be doing, what you should be thinking about. We'll go then, again, start to identify the problem, define our goals, go through the pre-processing steps. We'll then go into solving, post-processing, and then we'll review the simulation and understand a little bit more about troubleshooting. So just a bit of an introduction. So it's again, the learning outcomes is understanding the CFD workflow and best practices as well. I've got geometry here for the FSAE car. This is similar to the 2016 RMIT car, so we'll have reference documents out when we're going through the demos. Cool. So just do a little bit about LEAP Australia. So a trusted partner of ANSYS. We started in 1996. We've got around like 50 staff and 6 offices around Australia and New Zealand. We're technically focused, so we don't just sell the software. We do a lot of training and support that goes with the software as well. So everyone will have access to academic support. So throughout the whole university career, if you have any questions and you're using ANSYS software, you can give us a email on support@leapost.com.au and one of us will get to you and we'll help you out. Cool. So LEAP doesn't only do ANSYS software. We also help out when it comes to PTC and a range of other softwares as well. We've been partnering them for many years as well. So if any point through your career you need any other software, you can come talk to us about the ones that you see on the screen. And ANSYS has a clear leadership position in the simulations. From a numerical standpoint, it's almost 3 times larger than its competitors, and it also endeavors to sustain the leadership in terms of technical capabilities and innovations. It's got a big job and it focuses on being the leader in simulation. So we've got a lot of disciplines that we address as well. We'll obviously just be going over the CFD portion of it, but we've also got software and technology available to help out with the structural, electromagnetic, as you can see, the thermal. We've got systems and embedded software side of things as well. Big company reaching global worldwide in almost every industry present. And I'm sure if there's anything that you can see on the screen that's been touched by some sort of ANSYS product. Cool. So we'll go into CFD. So CFD is the science of predicting fluid flow, heat and mass transfer, chemical reactions, and related phenomena. To predict these phenomena, CFD solves equations of conservation of mass, Newton's second law, conservation of energy, and additional equations. It can be used to provide detailed information about distribution of pressure, velocity, temperature. We can also have a look at forces like lift and drag, and also things like distribution of multiple phases and species composition. So CFD is used in all stages of the engineering process, from conceptual design to detailed product development, optimization, to troubleshooting, and also redesign later on. It's important to keep in mind that CFD complements testing and experimental by reducing the effort and the cost required for experiments and data acquisitions. It also means that you guys can get on the road a lot quicker and do a lot more testing. All right, so the ANSYS solvers is based on a finite volume method. So taking this example on the left-hand side, we've just got a pipe and we've meshed it. The domain is cut up into a finite set of volumes, and we've got physics equations that are solved in that volume. And these equations are arranged in a system of algebraic equations and then solved. So in this, again, very basic case, we've got a pipe. We're going to take one control volume from it, and we're just going to make sure that the mass flow rate in is equal to the mass flow rate out. And on a simple level, that's exactly what's happening. Cool. In reality, instead of just solving one or two equations, it's actually solving a set of equations called Navier-Stokes. This looks a bit complicated, but in reality, each of these terms can be broken down and simplified for you to understand. So in the equation in the middle, you can see that the left-hand side, there's a transient term. You can denote that by d on dt, right? So what I'll do, I'll get a pen. Right, so D on DT over there. And all it's doing is try to capture the unsteady nature of the flow. Right, we've got a convection term over here as well, and that's capturing the bulk fluid motion. We've got a diffusive term over here, and that's capturing viscous flow. So for instance, that's the effect of flow through diffusion or like buoyancy flows, or also things like change due to density. And then we've got a term for generation and source, so if we're removing or generating any material as well. And in each one of these cases, if we were to take the variable and input, variable phi and input something into it, so continuity, momentum, turbulence, we can then actually solve the Navier-Stokes equations. Right, so for the next few slides, I'm going to be going over the modeling process. We'll start with the problem identification and then preparing the geometry through pre-processing, and they would then be solving the simulations and post-processing the results. It's important to keep in mind that CFD is an iterative process. It requires you to go back to your previous step, make some changes, and then reevaluate your simulation. Cool. So before you start your simulations, it's important to consider a couple of things. So the first thing is your project timeline. So understand how much time is actually allocated for the design, manufacturing, testing, and refinement process. You want to be making sure you're hitting your timelines. You don't want to start designing something and then realize you don't have enough time to manufacture or test it. It's important to read over current literature to understand what's been done before and how you can improve the design. It's then important to understand what your component constraints are. So understand exactly what the whole system is, what it wants to do. How does your subsystem slot into this, and how do each of your parts integrate, and how it again feeds back to your whole system. Keep in mind, you're not developing a bunch of wings, you're developing a car, right? And you should always be establishing your simulation goals based on your system design, based on your subsystem design, and also component level as well. And the next important thing is manufacturing constraints. I think this is one of the hardest things for FSAE students, especially because we get taught in university how to design a component, but not necessarily how to make something out of carbon fiber and that whole process as well. So understand before you even start designing, what actual tools do you have available? How long do you think they'll have available? You'll have them available for. If you need to go out and actually buy anything or get something through the sponsorships, how long do you think that will take? And make sure you take all of this into account when it comes to your design and especially your CFD side of things. And then when it comes to testing as well, it's again, CFD is meant to complement testing. It's not meant to take it away. So understand, what are you testing? How are you going to be testing for it? And how are you actually going to be validating your simulations? So let's start with the pre-processing side of things and look at relevant geometry. So what we're going to do in our particular case is we're going to have a look at the front wing and the downforce we can potentially create from the front wing. So a couple of questions you need to ask yourself is, so number one, what's actually important to me? All right, so if I've got my full car, do I need it? Do I have a manufacturing version of it? Do I have something that's clean that I'm going to use for CFD? Do I need to use the full car, or if it's symmetric down the middle and the flow is symmetric as well, can I cut the car in half and use a symmetry model? And then the other question is, do I need to have it fully featured? So if I'm interested in just the interaction between the nose, the front wing, and the wheel, do I need to have the side pod? Do I need to have the the rear wings and the rear wheels as well? So always try to understand, what are you actually aiming to achieve, and what do you need to get there. So in the next component, we're going to be using space claim, and then after identifying the geometry, it's very important to make sure you repair and prepare the simulation. We can remove unnecessary features, edges, and then create a watertight body to create an enclosure. There's a repair tab within Space Claim that allows you to fill in missing faces, which can happen if the model is saved in an intermediary file format. We can remove small faces, so cleaning these faces will result in a reduced mesh count and better quality, which will reduce your computational resources and help convergence. We can also do things like remove split edges, which merges edges that don't make a boundary. Again, this also improves your mesh count and will make your computational resources lower and help you converge faster, and also go through the process of removing extra edges. All right, so we've got a couple of tutorials which we'll go through with this as well. And then we've also got a prepare tab. So with that, we can remove unnecessary fillets. So again, fillets, when you've got them, we can improve, we can have a lot of mesh elements just to capture that curvature. So if it's not important to the flow, it might be, recommended to remove those fillets. If there's interference or if the models come in and it's a little bit off, we can resolve that. We can remove small faces. So this is very important. We don't want to be taking in manufacturing CAD into CFD. We don't want bolt holes or anything like that if you don't think it's going to affect the major features of the flow. So we want to remove these features, and also things like small edges. Again, really important to resolve these small edges when it comes to reducing the mesh count, increasing quality, which will help convergence down the line as well. Right. So when it comes to the pre-processing side of things, we'll go over this. I'll go over a demo in a couple of minutes. So we've got the model of the car here. We can see that we've got the enclosure function at the top in the prepare tab, and we're going to be creating an enclosure around the front wing, the chassis, the suspension arms, and the wheel as well. So we're going to create this enclosure again using space claim. The enclosure function actually creates the fluid domain, and it takes out the solid body in the middle, so you don't have to do that manually. And when it comes to creating the domain around the geometry, it's important to place the actual boundaries away from the car. So this ensures that the flow around the car is not affected by the walls. It makes sure that the inlet profile isn't being affected by the stagnation region, and also that you're capturing the shape of the wake, and the outlet is placed away from the recirculation region. All of these, again, will help when it comes to convergence. And for your reference, the inlet with the height, the inlet, the width, and the height is, in this particular case, around 1 car length away, and the outlet is around 3. So the outlet is far enough just to resolve the wake, which again makes convergence faster. All right. When it comes to the wheel as well, so what I would normally do is I'd cut it off, say 5 meters on top, and then where I've got the hole for the actual wheel itself, I'd create a fillet because I don't want a sharp angle, because if I give it a sharp angle, it's going to reduce the mesh count. So we'll go over that in a bit as well. And then what I'll also do is that I'll add bodies of influence. So these are just solids that we'll add around bodies that I think I'll need to pick up. So for instance, in the front wing and the wheel as well, there are vortices coming off the wheels. Now I may need to make these vortices, the area, the mesh around those vortices a lot smaller. So what I'll do is I'll actually have a body of influence which I'll use to scope a smaller sizing. Awesome. And there's also another body of influence around the car because I want to pick up flow features around the car, but closer to the walls, I'm not too concerned. Right. So the key points when it comes to geometry is understand the pre-processing side of things as well. Again, understand the time, manufacturing, and testing constraints before starting your CFD. Make sure I identify geometry needed to achieve your simulation results. And it's again, just make sure if you've got clean geometry, it makes meshing a lot easier, which makes convergence a lot easier as well. Okay.